Hi, this is Joe again with another movie review, and for the subject of this video, I'm going to be discussing the 1986 movie musical, Evita, starring Madonna, Antonio Banderas, and Jonathan Pryce. Because this movie is based on the Andrew Lloyd Webber musical with the same name, and this is only the second, at the time, this was only the second movie based on Andrew Lloyd Webber musical that's been transformed into a movie. And as much as I do like Madonna's performance in this film, but the problem is that it was like a glorified 2 hour 15-minute movie musical. I mean music video for the man 2 hours and 15 minutes. And it's mainly because of A, how it was edited, B, there was one constant song after another, very, very low dialogue. I do mean very extremely low dialogue. I mean it's like watching one of those old episodes of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood where they used to do an opera on the show, and where all the talking instead of me talking to you in the YouTube universe, it's like singing through the whole. It's like imagine me singing my review of a video. That's what it was. All the lines was a song where all the actors were singing. So it's not um, one line of dialogue after another, and then 5 or 10 minutes into a film, you have a song, and then you have another little lull where you go like let's say 20 minutes without a song, and then you have another song, musical number. You have all the songs singing through the entire movie. You can literally count on one hand how many actual lines of dialogue were actually said by the actors. Maybe 5 lines, maybe six at most. But I'm not saying they hated the movie or they didn't like it. It's just that I would have liked it more if it was like a Rodgers and Hammerstein musical, uh, where you don't have singing the entire movie with singing, and not an actual dialogue scene. Fortunately, that's the problem I have with Andrew Lloyd Webber musicals. Is the fact, and I have seen Cats on Broadway, and it was constantly singing. I mean, we did have a couple of lines of dialogue, but it's few and far between, and it's just one musical act after another without any real break between any of the songs. And that's what Andrew Lloyd Webber does in his musicals is you have constantly singing through um, the whole show or the whole movie. Um, but not to say, and not criticizing it's gonna be here. And not criticizing the movie at all. It's just that how it was edited and everything. And that's what you had in this film. And excuse me. Um, the problem excuse me, another problem that a lot of people had with this movie was excuse me, allergies. The other controversy with this film was when the Oscar nominations came out. Madonna was not nominated for an Oscar for her performance in this film, and that caused a huge controversy because this was, in fact, I feel, other than the movie A League of Their Own, this was definitely Madonna's best role in the film. There's absolutely no question about it. And when Madonna was selected to be in this film, it was a huge controversy at the time because uh, many people felt that she did not have the vocal range for singing the songs in Andrew Lloyd Webber's musicals because most of the women performers who performed in Andrew Lloyd Webber's music and the original Evita was Patti LuPone and she has a pretty high vocal range. So did Glenn Close, who was in Sunset Boulevard. Um, Elaine Page, she was in Cats as well as Sunset Boulevard, and she also has a pretty high vocal range. Madonna does not have an extremely high vocal range, but she did give it a best shot, and she did do well in the musical, but in the film and in the part. But she does not have the high vocal range, so that's one controversy. And things why pick Madonna? The problem is, like just said earlier, other than A League of Their Own, most movies that Madonna was in were bombs. She does not have a great track record for being in movies. I mean, the only other pretty successful movie that Madonna was in was Desperately Seeking Susan. That one, A League of Their Own, and Evita, and that's it. Only other movies that Madonna's ever appeared in, they all sucked. Every single one. And so people were afraid that by casting Madonna, that the movie was going to tank. The movie didn't tank. It did fairly well in the box office, and but like I said earlier, she did not get nominated for Best Actress for in the Oscars, and that caused a huge controversy at the time. And the funny thing was, there was a song that was made originally for the movie, and there was a song called "You Must Love Me." And there was a song that was performed towards the end of the film where her character was dying. Um, one thing I haven't discussed was the premise of the film and the storyline. The storyline of Evita is about Eva Perón or Evita Perón. For some reason, for some parts of the film, she was called Eva Perón. But the title of the film is Evita, not Ava. Um, I don't know what the reason for that is, and who knows? Maybe one thing is the Spanish version or American version for name. Uh, I don't know, but she was an actress who worked her way up from poverty as a child, and she ends up marrying the most powerful man in Argentina, which was Juan Perón, who was part of the military, and he took over Argentina in a coup just towards the end of World War II, and became the dictator of Argentina. And he married, or just before he got elected dictator of Argentina, he married Eva Delonte, I believe her main name was. And at first, she got a lot of hatred. I mean, throughout the whole, not only throughout life, but throughout the whole movie, it was implied that how hated she was because he thought that she was like uh, a little climber. I mean, she was an actress. Uh, I don't know how successful she was as an actress, but they thought that she was a climber. That she slept her way through life pretty much. She had sex with just about any guy who would get the guy's whatchamacallit into her. She would screw any guy possible near her just to climb to the top. And of course, she slept with one woman and married her and married him, and of course became the first lady of Argentina. And of course that's her life. And then she ended up dying in 1952. She died of cancer, and that was her life. And all of a sudden she was mourned by not only people in Argentina but throughout the world. And people wonder, oh, how come not all of a sudden people are mourning her? First, people treat her like crap, calling her, nothing more than a climber or a social climber. And she stepped her way through the top, and now all of a sudden, now she's dying of cancer. Now she's dead. Now we're mourning her. I mean, it's kind of hypocritical in a lot of ways. Uh, so of course, that's pretty much the story for Vita told through song. And like I said earlier, this is like a 2-hour, 15-minute movie musical. I mean, a music video. The way it was made, the way it goes from one song to the other pretty much without one musical number after another without a break. That's why I mean, I do like Madonna's performance. I do like the songs in the film and the musical numbers, but like I said, they don't give you a break. I mean, give me a break for the songs for a few minutes. Uh, but unfortunately, they don't do it in. Andrew Lloyd Webber does not do it. He just writes constant songs for the whole film, and they use every single song he writes for a particular show. All the uh, dialogue, no dialogue at all. One musical piece after another. That's why I felt I was a little disappointed. I also found I was a little disappointed in Cats as well for the same reason. They don't give you a break for the musical numbers. They just tell you one musical number, one song after another, and believe me, it gets tedious after a while. Especially if you've never been through or sat through a Andrew Lloyd Webber musical. I think there's only like one left of Broadway in New York City today. That's found on the opera. But at one point, at the time that Evita came out, he pretty much owned Broadway at the time because he had not only had found the opera, Cats was still on Broadway. You had, even though Cats was closing at the time, uh, and Cats on Broadway. You had Sunset Boulevard. You had, like I said, Phantom was still playing. Sunset Boulevard. You had all these musicals on Broadway, like one thing after the other. Uh, of course, he also made. There was also a movie version of his Andrew Lloyd Webber's version of Phantom of the Opera that came out about like 10 years ago, which was fine. But at least they give you a break for the musical numbers. But I think he finally learned when he did Phantom of the Opera to not put in one musical number after another. Um, but this was definitely one of his first musicals that came on Broadway, and it finally remade into a movie. Also, Antonio Banderas also plays. I should tell you who Antonio Banderas played. He played Che Rivera, who was the narrator throughout the film. And it was one great scene where he dances a tango with Madonna or Evita in one particular scene in the film. And Jonathan Price, of course, plays Juan Perón. And he had, even though he's supposed to be like a main character because he played Juan Perón, but he had very uh, few dialogue scenes, very few songs. He sang with Madonna. Uh, in the film, even though Jonathan Price did one, I think he played an Asian character in Miss Saigon a few years earlier before he did the movie Evita. So I knew the guy could sing. But actually in the part he had most of the singing went to either Madonna or Antonio Banderas, and it was the first time Antonio Banderas actually sang on screen before, and he did a pretty good job. He does have a pretty good voice. Now I don't go for Antonio Banderas, but he did a very good job. As did Madonna. And Madonna should have been recognized for the great performance that she had. At least they should have given her the nomination. I don't think she would have won, and the Oscar for Best Actress, but at least give her a chance to even win the damn thing. I think that's because of Madonna's reputation. That's probably why she didn't get a nomination. And like I said earlier, there was a controversial choice of her being in the movie because she pushed to get this role, and she got it. Obviously, she got it, and people thought that she should not have gotten it. It should have went to Patty LuPone, who originally played the part. But I think by 1997 or 96, when the movie came out, that I think she might have been too old to play the part by then. And the movie came out like 20 years earlier, back in the late 70s. So I think she might have been too old to play the part. I don't have anything against Patty LuPone, but I think she might have been too old to play the part when the movie finally got made. So that's my review of Evita. Please click on the video, please rate it, feel free to comment on. Please subscribe to my channel, and please forward this video to your Facebook pages. And also you can check out my older videos on rowdyc.com. That's ROWDY.com. As well, you can check out the Rowdy Reviewers TV Trash videos, which she does a great job on. And you can also check out not only my older videos on rallyc.com, but also check them out on my YouTube channel as well. Thanks for watching and catch you next time.